The December inflation data is in. Now, this is really important because this is the last inflation data we will receive before the Reserve Bank breaks for its February interest rate meeting. So this is really, really important. And this information has been used by financial commentators, by economists, to make their predictions on what interest rates will do in February. This is really important information, and that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. I'm Tomo from Tomo Finance. Welcome. Tonight, all things interest rates. What are the big four banks' predictions for the February meeting? And towards the end, I'll give you my assessment on where I think interest rates will go. Now, quickly, make sure you read my disclaimer. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. I'm not a licensed tax advisor. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. You should seek the help of a professional before you make any changes to your financial position. Now, to start off, I wanted to share with you a quote, a really important quote. This is from Lucy Ellis, Westpac Chief Economist. With the trimmed mean inflation at 0.5% in the quarter, 3.2% for the year, we have just enough evidence to conclude that disinflation has proceeded faster than the RBA expected. So the board will have the required confidence to start the rate cutting phase in February. Massive quote, important quote, massive call from the Westpac Chief Economist. Let's hope. I'm a mortgage holder. I take it if you're watching this, you're a mortgage holder as well. Let's hope this quote is accurate. What has been the journey so far with interest rates? We all know what the journey's been. It's been very, very painful. It's gone nothing but up, okay? Now interest rates have been stuck at 4.35% since November 2023. Very, very painful for a lot of Australians, very, very painful for a lot of mortgage holders. Let's hope that we can have some positive news for an interest rate decision in February meeting. Thanks for the comments, JT. Now, this has been the journey so far. Very, very painful. I did a video on this in November. Where I talked a little bit about the data. So in inflation, they use data called core inflation, and they use data called the trimmed mean. Core inflation is just everything bundled in. The trimmed mean excludes seasonal items, excludes things that are very volatile like fuel, electricity sometimes, those sorts of things. And the trimmed mean is the preferred metric of the RBA when they're making their interest rate decisions. Now, if we go back to the data. So for November, the trimmed mean was at 3.2% and core inflation was at 2.3%. That was a video I made in November. Now, now we move to the December data, the view will change a little bit. So this November data was a monthly analysis. When we move to the December data, the December inflation data, you got to take a step back. We're not really now comparing December to November. We're not comparing monthly. We're comparing now per quarter, or we're comparing per annual, which is why there's been a change in perspective, a change in views on where interest rates will go. So if I skip through to the December data now, let's look at the blue boxes first. So core inflation for December 2024, 2.4%. November's 2.3 actually went up. Core inflation actually increased just a little bit from November to December. And trim mean stayed exactly the same. So when I was first looking at this data, and some people might have this same view, it's like, well, nothing's changed. You know, what could be any different if nothing has changed? But again, you need to change that lens. You need to change that perspective. We're now not comparing month to month. We're taking a step back and we're looking over much longer time periods. We're comparing December to the September quarter. And when you do that for core inflation, so core inflation, I'm looking at the bottom box now, core inflation 2.8% for September, and it's reduced 2.4% to December. That's quite a large decrease. That's quite a large decrease for core inflation. And the trimmed mean has reduced from 3.6% to 3.2%. So when you take a bit of a further step out, it's a much broader decrease when you're staring quarter to quarter. So what this shows is that inflation is overall, it's moving in the right direction. We're going on a downward trend, which is what we want. And hopefully that downward trend will give the RBA enough to make an interest rate cut in February. Let's take a look at what the professionals think. Let's take a look at what the big four banks think. So before I get there, actually, when I made this video a couple of weeks ago when we just had the November data, the November information, and the big four banks were 50-50 split. So we've got ANZ, we've got CommBank, we've got Westpac, we've got NAB. So half of them, 50%, thought there'd be a rate cut in February. The other half thought there was not going to be a rate cut in February. It'd be the next Reserve Bank meeting. 50-50 split told us absolutely nothing. After receiving this data, after receiving this information, they've now changed. They've now changed their predictions. And this is what they think for the February Reserve Bank meeting. All four of the big banks think there's going to be an interest rate cut in February 2025. These are supposed to be the experts. These are supposed to be the economists. Let's have our fingers crossed and hope that they're right. I hope they're right. I'm sure a lot of mortgage holders out there also hope that they're right. Again, these are just predictions. Don't take it as gospel. Don't make any changes or anything like that based on this information. These are just predictions. My view, my assessment could be quite bold. I'm still a little bit skeptical. Certainly no expert, certainly no economist, but I'm still a little bit skeptical on a rate cut in February, and I'll tell you why. We've talked about the trimmed mean. Now, this is the preferred measure of the Reserve Bank, and it was gone from 3.6% to 3.2%. Core inflation is low. Okay, core inflation is low. The band that the Reserve Bank wants inflation to be in is between 2 and 3%. That is their band that they want inflation to be in. So even if we just focus on the core inflation data, that light blue line, it has been in that 2 to 3% band for maybe a quarter, maybe a couple of months. Okay, so it's been there for a little bit, only a little bit, not a long time. The trimmed mean has not made it there yet. The trimmed mean has not made it into the RBA's preferred bandwidth for inflation. So for me, I don't know, I'm just still feeling a little bit skeptical about it. I think about how much flack Philip Lowe got when making interest rate decisions. Philip Lowe was the former Reserve Bank governor, and I just think Michelle Bullock will be a little bit cautious when it comes to cutting interest rates and it comes to making that decision. I think she will want to see a sustained period of either core inflation or preferably the trim mean in that 2 to 3% band. That's what I think. Now again, going against what the big four banks predict, I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong about this. It would make me nothing happier to be wrong about this. Big four banks think there's going to be a cut. I would just say I'm still a little bit skeptical. I think Michelle Bullock will be a little bit cautious. And because that trim mean hasn't hit in that band yet, I'm a little bit cautious about that. Again, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. You should make your own financial decisions after you talk to the professionals. So hope you found that interesting. Hope you was able to share some information with you, share some education with you. If you enjoy this finance content, please head over to my channel where I do a whole bunch of financial videos on how to save money on your mortgage, teaching you how to invest, a whole bunch of content I think you'll really enjoy. If you've got any questions, let me know what you think interest rates will do in February. Give me your predictions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Till next time, stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next video.